All right, man, peace. So as most of you brothers know, in the wake of Kawhi Leonard's dominating performance over LeBron James and the LA Lakers on Christmas night, the question is now begging to be asked, is the mainstream liberal sports media finally ready to admit what most of us have known now for the past year and change? That being that Kawhi Leonard is a better overall player than LeBron James. And are they ready to accept that? Are they ready to admit that? And as we know, the leader of the LeBron James army in the liberal sports media is Mr. LeShannon Sharp James. Is he ready to finally acquiesce to the truth? That being that Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the NBA and therefore better than his boo thing, LeBron James. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, up next, Kawhi and the Clippers beat LeBron and the Lakers for a second time this season, winning 111 to 106. Lakers led by as many as 15 at one point, but Kawhi scored 11 of his 35 points in clutch time, the fourth quarter. Then there's Patrick Beverley forcing a LeBron turnover at the end to seal the game. LeBron struggled from the field, missing his first 7 shots. He ends up 9 of 24, and his 10 missed threes were a career worst, and certainly a contributing factor. Shannon, if you had to choose the best player on the planet right now, who would it be?
What type of silly question is that? We all know who that is. We know who the best player in the world is. You know, Skip, I'm flabbergasted. When we had the little run through in the morning meeting, I thought when you had that hypothetical question of who the best athlete or player was, I thought you were comparing LeBron James to people like Barack Obama and Vladimir Putin, other world leaders. I had no idea you were comparing him to Kawhi Leonard. Skip Bayless, make no mistake about it. LeBron James is the best of the past, the present, and the future. As the Associated Press has so rightly ascertained, he is the athlete of the decade. I'm tired of them shorting my man of his accolades. It's not just the last decade, it's of all time. When you introduce LeBron James, introduce him by his full nomenclature. His name is LeBron Maximus Decimus Meridius James, commander of the LA Legions, loyal servant to Rob Pelinka, husband to a happy wife, that being Savannah James, boo thing to a happy friend, that being me, LeShannon Sharp James, father to a happy family, and we will have our vengeance in this life or the next. Skip Bayless, we will take back the throne this year. There's no way in the world the best player in the NBA can have cornrows in 2019 heading into 2020. Give me a break.
I'm not just going to look at 2 games. I'm going to look at the complete body of work. No guy that's missed a quarter of a season can be considered.
Well, Shannon, here's the problem. You would have a point if the question is, who is the MVP for this season? Then you would have a great point, but that's not the question. The question is Kawhi Leonard the best player in the world? Thereby in the NBA, of course, because the NBA is considered the best league in the world. So all they're asking is, who is the better player? They're not asking who's this season's MVP. If that was the comparison, we know Kawhi is out because he misses too many games voluntarily. Then you might have a better chance with LeBron. Even though, to be quite honest with you, the steam on LeBron's regular season MVP candidacy is starting to wane. I'm not even quite sure if he's ahead of Luka Doncic at this point, and Luka has missed some time. Right now, it's definitely Antetokounmpo ahead of everybody. After him will probably be James Harden, maybe then Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, and then probably LeBron. You could argue that LeBron is still ahead of Luka. I myself would probably put Luka ahead of LeBron because LeBron has started to trail off a bit in his productivity, and he's not really shown up in some of their bigger games.
Why they didn't give Carson Wentz the MVP. He missed the last 3 regular season games. He was leading the NFL. He finished, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1 touchdown behind Russell Wilson.
Shannon Sharp, no one ever considered Carson Wentz the best player in football, even when he was the leading candidate for the MVP. You're getting the conversation conflated, and I have to wonder if you're doing this on purpose because you needed a way to justify the notion that LeBron was still better than Kawhi Leonard, even though Kawhi has blatantly outplayed him in both their matchups this season.
Had, 4,000 yards, and he didn't win the MVP. You can't be considered the best player in the NBA playing a quarter of the game. Stop that, Skip Bayless. Look, I'm not going to cherry pick and say, okay, do you see what he did?
Bro, all you do is cherry pick. Every time LeBron James has a great game, you claim that he had a virtuoso. Fact of the matter is that Kawhi Leonard outplayed LeBron last season. He's outplaying him this season. He's better than LeBron. It's okay.
Look, they're basically numbers are pretty similar. Both are averaging about 25.5 per game.
Normal LeBron James fanboyism. They run straight to the numbers. You cannot compare numbers when it comes to certain players who play in that Oscar Robertson style because they accumulate numbers. The LeBron Jameses, the Russell Westbrooks, the James Harden's, the Luka Doncic's who play in that Oscar Robertson style where they dominate the basketball, they distribute, they rebound, they score. They're always going to have flashier numbers than a player who plays within the framework of a system like a Kawhi Leonard. You have to evaluate them by the eye test. And most players like a Kawhi, they dominate on defense more than the Oscar Robertson type of players.
At about 6.5 rebounds per game, but LeBron doubles him up in the assist total, 10-5.
Because that's his role. Kawhi Leonard plays in a very Jordan-esque, Kobe-esque style. Not to say an antiquated shooting guard style, but, you know, it's more of a 90s style. So he's not going to accumulate huge assist numbers because that's not his role.
I think they're kind of shooting maybe comparable. Kawhi is way better from the free throw line, so I'm not going to even sugar. I think Kawhi is shooting 87%. LeBron is shooting like 68%.
That's not even a question. Look, we already know there are certain things offensively that Kawhi can do better than LeBron. And the fact that LeBron's shooting percentage has come down to about 48%, that's rather glaring because we know that LeBron prefers to get layups if he can. If he does shoot, he likes to be comfortable when he shoots the basketball. So LeBron's not someone who's going to take a lot of crazy jump shots. So the fact that his shooting percentage has come down to about 48% is also something that should be taken into account. Kawhi Leonard normally hovers around that 48 to 50% shooting percentage range.
But to all of a sudden now, after 2 games, to say this guy, if you say...
It's not 2 games, bro. It's 2 years. Once again, Kawhi Leonard was the best player in the NBA playoffs last year.
You could have one guy to start a team with right now. I'm still taking LeBron.
Of course, you got to go home to the man. What else you going to say?
LeBron is better than Kawhi.
No, he's not. I'm sorry, but Kawhi has passed him by.
I'm taking LeBron, and I'm not going to just say because Kawhi's had 2 outstanding games against the Lakers. But the body of work and what LeBron has been able to do in 24-7 now in 30 of the 31 games versus Kawhi that's missed 5-6 of the games.
Skip, I don't know why you have me these type of questions. It brings a lot of tension into my household. I have to go back home and face that man. If I tell the truth, that being that right now LeBron is hovering around the 6th or 7th best player in the league, I'm going to be homeless, Skip Bayless. Can I live with you and Ernestine?
No, I'm not saying Kawhi is better. Kawhi is not better than LeBron, and the best player in the world is still LeBron James.
Shannon looked mad as hell. I love to see what he say when the camera go off. Oh, Skip Bayless, you really stress me out. We know Giannis is better than LeBron. We know James Harden better than LeBron. I mean, shit, at this point, J.J. Barea might be better than LeBron. The way LeBron look in big games. But I can't say that shit on TV.
Okay, my turn. Before I get into my argument, I got to pay homage to this guy. This used to wear number 35 for the Golden State Warriors. He's now, I think he's with Brooklyn, but I don't know. Maybe he retired because he is out of sight and completely out of mind, and nobody discusses Kevin Durant anymore. He, as long as he's still alive, and I think he's still alive, is the best player on the planet. Yes,
Well, we can't call Kevin Durant the best player on the planet anymore. He has to come back and show and prove. So he's kind of out of the picture. No disrespect to the brother, but when he does come back, he's going to have to prove it all over again.
He proved it in not only back-to-back MVP finals, but in that little flash that we saw him last year before he faithfully tore his Achilles tendon. Did he not just turn the whole game and it looked like...
Yeah, he was outstanding. In his very brief cameo in the NBA Finals in 2019, he was unbelievable.
Well, come on, he's the best player on the planet.
He's playing with another 2-time MVP and Draymond and Clay. Stop this.
They begged him to come.
Yes,
right?
they did.
They begged him, and he turned their lives around.
Right.
He went to LeBron's house 2 straight years and said, "In your face," literally.
Well, why did he do that with? Why didn't he do that with OKC?
What?
Because he had that nut job playing alongside of him, that damn Russell Westbrook. That's why he left in the first place, Shannon.
What happened to James Harden last night or yesterday at Golden State?
Okay.
That's what kept happening to Kevin in Oklahoma
So if
City.
LeBron-
Russell Westbrook kept getting.
I agree. And Shannon, you know it too. Come on, man. That guy Russell Westbrook, he's a major problem.
Whatever.
Well, he did. Okay. But he's out of sight, out of mind. Now I got one other disqualifier here to this. I watched a game yesterday between Philadelphia and Milwaukee in Philly. And I was in awe once again of a guy that I picked this year before the season started to be the MVP of this league, and his name is Joel Embiid. And for whatever reason yesterday, and I can tell you what I think the reason was, he woke up and said, you know what, today I'm going to play. When he decides to play, he is the best player on this planet.
No.
Joel Embiid is a problem. But the problem with Joel is going to be his motor and also his body type. He has issues with his weight distribution, and he's only, 26 years old. When he gets to 31, 32, and it's far more difficult for him to maintain conditioning, people don't understand. Those centers from back in the 80s and 90s, like Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson, they literally train throughout the entire offseason and into the season to keep their bodies in peak physical condition. Joel Embiid does not strike me as that type of person. So I can never consider him the best player in the NBA. He's one of the top talents in the NBA. We're just going to talk about talent. He's probably top 2 or top 3. He's much more talented naturally than Antetokounmpo because Joel Embiid has a far better shooting touch than Antetokounmpo does. But when it comes to drive, it's not even close.
Dominate both ends the way nobody can because he's the guy who's 7 feet tall and can make threes. He's making 33% of his threes. LeBron's now at 34%. So I don't know. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And Joel Embiid can make free throws like crazy. He's an 83% free throw shooter. It's sick what he can do to people when he decides to do it. And yesterday, because it was Giannis in his building, he said, okay, watch this. And what did he say right after the game in his interview? He said, I just wanted to make a statement that I want to be Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, good
Was that
luck.
not music to the ears of Brett Brown, his coach?
Good luck. AD way ahead of you in that.
I'm not quite sure about that. If you look at the metrics, Joel Embiid is extremely high when it comes to defensive win shares. Anthony Davis is up there as well, but do not sleep on Joel Embiid. I understand that he's on your team and you have to cheer for him and all that, Shannon Sharp, but check the metrics, check the stats before you talk, and don't just look at blocks.
But I don't think he's way ahead when Joel decides to play defense, and he wanted to show up Giannis yesterday. Did he not show him up?
Yeah.
Boy, Giannis went 8 for 27.
Skip.
Yikes.
You know.
Giannis is going to have those type of games against the better defensive teams because when they put that wall up on him, it's going to be a problem.
Work. You can't say, well, when he wants to play. How can you say a guy's
Okay,
the best when he has 0 points in the game?
when you see it, you just say, aha, there it is. I can't explain the rest of it. Maybe he's just not born to be that guy.
Okay.
Maybe he doesn't have that.
So he disqualified.
That set of intangibles.
If you play a game in which you play 25 plus minutes and you score 0 points, you're disqualified.
All right, and his points are down by.
Point taken, but keep in mind that the Toronto Raptors are still amongst the elite teams in the NFL on the defensive end.
He's averaging 23. He was 28 last year because they added Al Horford, and obviously they lost some shooters, some distance scoring, and all of a sudden the lane is getting more and more clogged. But yesterday he said, I'm not going to worry about that. Just give me the ball and get out of my way. And you saw what happened. So again, he deserves an honorable mention here. Okay. Now we get to the argument.
Yep.
Okay, Giannis is sitting atop PER because he owns PER, the player efficiency rating. Okay, so he's 1 and Luka's 2 and James Harden is 3. And then it goes AD, LeBron, Joel, and Kawhi.
Okay.
So those are the top 8 right in a row. But Giannis is going to own it because he's going to put up just insane
He's going to be 30 and 13.
Okay, he's just going to do it.
Yeah.
Except we saw what happened to him in the conference finals last year. And I saw what happened to him yesterday, which was the flip side of what happened on that Thursday night last week when your Lakers visited Milwaukee.
At the end of the day, Giannis is like a slim version of Shaq. He needs another great superstar out there with him who can take some of the defense away from him so that he can dominate.
That was his turn to say, not in my house. and he showed up, LeBron and AD, right?
Yeah.
Well, I still don't trust Giannis to be that guy in that moment because he turns right around in Philadelphia and just no-shows.
And guess what, Skip? Remember against the Lakers, he's 5 of 7 from the three.
He was a career high 5.
And yesterday he was 0 for 7.
Okay, so I think.
Well, by the end of the season, you expect Giannis to be shooting somewhere around 31, 32% from 3, which is a great improvement for him. Just look at it this way. He's going to be shooting better from 3 than Russell Westbrook.
Closer to the real Giannis yesterday.
Yes.
Which brings me back to Kawhi Leonard, once my favorite player in San Antonio until he quit on my team.
He's back again.
He's back in good graces. I can't call him my favorite player, but all I know is this. He was the MVP of last year's finals. LeBron James, not in the playoffs last year.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And all I know, there have been 2 games of the year so far in the NBA. I think you would agree with that. Am I right? I mean, okay, everybody agrees it's Lakers, Clippers, Clippers, Lakers. It's 1-2, 2-1, 1-2.
The 2 games that have been played between the Clippers and the Lakers have been the only 2 games that I've seen thus far this season that had a playoff ambiance or a playoff energy to them. So I'll give Skip credit for that much in regards to his assertion or his evaluation of how impactful or how tense certain games have been, because you can definitely tell the difference. When I watch the Clippers play the Rockets, they're not scared of the Rockets for whatever reason. They don't take the Rockets too seriously. But when they play the Lakers, they're giving the Lakers their best shot.
All right, this is it. And they have met twice because they share the building, so it's been 1 Clipper home game, 1 Laker home game. Who dominated both games? Kawhi Leonard.
Absolutely, because he's the best player in the NBA.
Who was better than AD or LeBron in both the games? Kawhi Leonard was. Both ends of the floor, he was better than both of them.
But you do realize in yesterday's game, both players scored 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Okay, but LeBron down the...
Right, but who won the game? Who scored the most points for the game, Shannon Sharp? That's the real issue.
Last 6:39 scored 1 point and missed the other free throw, which was a crucial free throw on the scoreboard, right? Well, who just kept scoring? Who kept making defensive plays? It was clear Kawhi Leonard was the best player on the floor both nights from start to finish. He set the tone in both games. He scores 30 the first night. He scored 35 last night. Against the Lakers in the 2 games, he's 17 of 18 from the free throw line.
Because he lives for those games, man. You could just tell. Kawhi loves those big, pivotal games. He doesn't give a shit how things turn out. He's just going to go through the same things that he works on in his drills, and he's going to make them manifest during the game.
LeBron's not. What more do you need? On the biggest stages and the biggest games, this guy keeps saying, I'm the best player on the planet, and I got to give him that today. He earned it last night.
So hold on.
Skip Bayless, hold on. So what you're trying to tell me is that in order for us to be able to make the distinction between LeBron and Kawhi, we actually going to look at real stats and real numbers and care about who won and who lost. What kind of bullshit is this? Why can't we just look at assists?
So I don't understand how we can say a guy that's missed 6, 7 games because of load managing. Now, if you say he's that defensive guy, I just saw Russell Westbrook a week ago go get 40. I saw James Harden go get 47. I saw him get another 37. So where's that defense that I'm seeing?
Well, here's the problem with your attempt at a contention, Shannon Sharp. You're the same person who before the season said that Kawhi Leonard was a better defensive player than Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That's what you said. You claim that Kawhi Leonard is a better defensive player than Michael Jordan. Now you're trying to act as if he's not. All you have to do is watch the games and you can quickly figure out, and even Skip has touched on this. It was very apparent when I watched the game between the Clippers and the Rockets that the Clippers were only going at about 80%. Some people might call that an excuse. Call it what you want. When I'm watching James Harden being guarded by someone other than Kawhi, Kawhi's out there guarding P.J. Brown. Do you think he's going to be guarding P.J. Brown in the playoffs? Like, come on. They look at the Rockets like a JV team. You know, they respect them to a certain degree, but they know come playoff time, they're easy to guard. So I don't really take what Russell Westbrook and James Harden had do in the regular season very seriously. If you look at the most impressive games that any players have had in the last 3 years, probably the top 20 most impressive games, 15 out of those 20 games were had by Hardhead and Westbrook, especially against teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic. Those guys have 50-point, 15 assists, 13 rebound games. They're great in the regular season. In the playoffs, Teams know how to deal with them.
What I keep telling you, he's been load managing since his second year in San Antonio. He doesn't care about those games. He cares about statement games, and he cares about May and June.
Skip, no, he
That's
wasn't
it.
Skip.
Agreed.
Get into story.
Skip, I looked it up. Greg Popovich is
You mean your researcher looked it up?
a game here and there. This didn't really come into our vocabulary until Pop started resting his key guys in national televised games. If you look at Tim Duncan was playing 78, 80, 82 ball games. He didn't start load managing until he got into his late 30s. Even at 37, he played 75 games.
So in other words, you're saying that Kawhi Leonard is smarter than Tim Duncan. I touched on this in another video. Many times when there are paradigm shifts, it's because certain people have the intellect, the fortitude, and the courage to go according to what they understand a smarter way to be. It's very difficult for certain people to understand and embrace the distinction between working harder as opposed to working smarter. Many times people who work hard are disdainful of people who work smart, because when you work smart, you get more accomplished and you actually have to exert less. So it makes someone who always embraces the concept of strictly hard work without trying to figure out how to work smarter or show some more ingenuity, it makes them feel kind of incompetent. So they lash out and they say that you're trying to look for shortcuts and things of that nature. At one time, man had to carry his goods and his water in a basket over his head. And then the wheel was invented. Was the person who invented the wheel lazy, or were they looking for a shortcut? Or were they just showing some form of ingenuity? So when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, people have to understand exceptional people have exceptions made for them. Not everyone's going to be able to do what Kawhi does. But when you bring to the table what he brings, certain teams are going to be willing to go along to get along.
Thing with Tony Parker. Manu plays, I think 75 or 76 games at 37. Kawhi's 25, 26.
How can you compare Manu Ginobili to Kawhi Leonard? Manu Ginobili can play 20 minutes a game at 37 years old. He can give you 7 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and everyone says, oh, did you see the steal that Manu made at the end of the game to save the game? Did you see the free throws that he hit, the clutch free throws that he hit to win the game in double overtime? Nobody cares about Manu's stats. Kawhi understands that he's going to be evaluated by his stats. His type of game contribution is different from someone like a Manu Ginobili. He's expected to put up a certain amount of points, rebounds, assists, and defensive effort. So you cannot compare the two.
So this load management has to do with age. Kawhi's in his 20s. Okay.
Right, but have you checked his medical report, Shannon Sharp? And why are you harping so much on the load management with Kawhi? Would you be doing the same thing if you were playing for the Lakers? Or would you be saying, we have to be easy on Kawhi? Because Kawhi has a history of knee problems. So we got to be easy on Kawhi, Skip.
It's just how he functions. It's just, and I think Uncle Dennis has had a lot to do with it, because Uncle Dennis has encouraged him, just tell him no. Just tell him you're not going to play. What are they going to do? Cut you? They're not going to cut you.
Exactly, because Uncle Dennis understands that Kawhi Leonard at this point in his career is irreplaceable. So you have to get all the money that you can get, hopefully as much under the table as you can get. Act like you're taking a deal above the table. Make your demands to them now while you're in your prime, because when Kawhi gets to be 33 and 34 years old, teams are not going to be willing to pay him as much. That's if he is even still playing in the NBA, because Kawhi strikes me as someone who might retire early. Get what you can now and receive the perks that you can receive now, because they're not going to last.
We know that superstars in basketball has more clout, has more cachet than any other professional sport. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Messi or Ronaldo.
No, but I agree with you. They do.
Tom Brady can't go to Mr. Kraft and get Bill Belichick fired.
No.
LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, they can go to this and get you up out of it, and you go.
I would agree.
So if he says, Skip, that's why they can say, look, I want my entourage to be on the plane. And guess what the entourage is going to be? You think Tom Brady can get his entourage? He might be.
Well, Pat Riley did not allow it. Pat Riley shut that shit down.
Get the trainer, but he ain't getting dad. He ain't getting girlfriend. These players, if they want their girlfriend, significant other to be on the team charter, Guess who's going to be on the team charter sitting there with the players?
Okay.
And the baby. Because that's what Toronto did. Toronto acquiesced and had Toronto's significant other and the baby on the flight.
Okay.
You sound incensed, Shannon Sharp. And you know all this stuff about Kawhi Leonard. Why is that? Because you did your detective work after you found out that Kawhi went to the Clippers because you were so upset at how Kawhi took your Lakers for a ride, how LeBron James for a ride, because LeBron was hoping and praying that Kawhi would come to the Lakers. That's what LeBron was hoping for. Because if LeBron had been able to bring Kawhi onto the team, LeBron knows that he would have been dominating the basketball. So he would have had control over how good Kawhi would look on the squad, while they would have been a certainty to win the championship. LeBron knows he can literally make himself the MVP of the finals with Kawhi on the team, guarding the opposing team's best wing. He can get the MVP, and he can make himself out to be better than Kawhi, while having Kawhi be the most integral piece and the most important piece in them winning a championship and adding to LeBron's legacy. So he lost all those things when Kawhi decided to sign with the Clippers. You understand that as well, which is why you're so upset and why you have this vendetta against Kawhi Leonard.
What's the payoff? A championship.
Skip. If you got that kind of leverage, but here's the thing. In other words, in order for this to be successful, you got to win the championship every year.
No, not quite. If they can win 2 out of the next 3 championships, they'd be very happy. As a matter of fact, if the Clippers can get 1 championship in these next 3 years, they would be elated. Look at it like this, Shannon Sharp. Your boy LeBron goes to Miami. He predicts 6 or 7 championships. They only win 2 in 4 years. The first one he choked away himself. The Clippers have never won a championship in their history. If they were able to get 1 because of Kawhi Leonard, he becomes a legend forever. He understands that. They understand that. So no, they don't have to win 3 championships or even 2. Even though I suspect and I expect that they're going to win more than 1 championship. But we'll see.
Did Pop win the championship every year? Because the first 4 years, there was no such thing as load management. Load management didn't come into existence until 2014.
Okay, but it's this guy.
No, not quite. Load management came into existence around 2011. And were it not for some very fortunate series that were won by teams that really were not expected to beat the Spurs, who knows? They may have won 2 or 3 more championships than they ended up winning had things gone their way more. Ray Allen misses a shot. Kevin Durant does not go nuclear in the 2012 Western Conference Finals. I mean, you never know what could happen. But, I mean, it is what it is. We know why Pop started to rest his players. Kawhi is resting himself early because, once again, I suspect he's not going to be trying to play in the NBA at 37. Would not surprise me at all if Kawhi Leonard retires at 32, 33 years old and goes off into the sunset.
And he keeps backing it up.
But Skip, he was injured early on. Okay. There was no load management. He wouldn't even play with a thumbnail or a splinter.
Okay, we got to put quotes around those injuries. There's a lot of players. Jordan, Bird, Magic, they just play through those because that was the time. That's what you did.
Skip,
They had to, though, because of how much they were getting paid. Back then, players like Jordan and a lot of the other top players were receiving somewhere around $500,000 to $1.5 million, well into the late 80s. Right now, these players are there getting $35 to $45 million a year. So they can afford to make demands, and that's not even counting how much they're making in off-the-court endorsements. A lot of these guys are making more money for Adidas or with Adidas or Nike or what have you than they're making with their team or in the NBA. So these dudes are bringing home $80, $90 million a year. If they tell the GM or the coach, look, I need to sit out, what are you really going to say?
You got to be strong mentally to be able to play with injury or a ligament injury or hurt and still go out there and perform. Well, he doesn't feel that if I can't be 100%, I ain't going out there.
How do you know that, Shannon Sharp? Have you looked at his medical report? Do you know whether or not he has a debilitating or recurring knee issue? Or are you just talking shit because you feel threatened by Kawhi? You'll notice that the 2 media pundits who like to go at Kawhi the most for load management are Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright. Why is that?
But it's going to be very few times, Skip, that after the first game that you're going to be 100%.
Okay, but if he showed you mental weakness in a big stage game, I'd say, look at this. This is demonstrating that he just doesn't have a basketball backbone. But he does.
Absolutely does.
look what LeBron has done. And there's been 2 statement games this year at Staples. LeBron now in those 2 games is 3 for 17 from 3. It's horrendous. He's only
It's horrendous.
16 of 43 from the field. For a guy who's the greatest driver of the basketball ever, that's 37%. But from the field?
But Skip, that
Wow.
Popovich theory. Back off. You remember, even if you...
Shannon Sharp. LeBron James is not shooting 37% from the field against the Clippers just because guys are running under screens. Because if that was the case, every team in the NBA would do that. The reason why he's shooting so poorly is because they can run under screens and they can recover and still get a hand in his face. They can funnel him to certain parts of the floor where they can double team him, get him to take bad shots, or get him to throw the ball away. That's why he's shooting 37% against the Clippers, Shannon Sharp. It's not just because they're running up under screens. I mean, give me a break.
Way back up even further. Dare him to shoot the jump shot or the 3-ball. Because if he's going to make that consistently, we got no chance. Because I'm telling you what's going to happen if we hug up on him. He's going to go by us, lay the ball up, get into the lane, a kick, or drop it off. We don't want that. If he can make threes, if he can make 20-footers, Skip, you got to live with something.
I agree with that because my lingering memory of Pop on the sideline in the 2013 finals, which the Spurs should have won because they were up 5 with 18 seconds left, is Pop going like this when LeBron had the ball at the top of the circle. Just get off him. Get off him. Let him shoot that. He can't make that shot.
And what happened in Game 7 with Kawhi? That top of the key.
Game 6, LeBron James LeBricked the shot that should have lost the game. He LeBricked it.
Hold on, what about Kawhi free throw? That could have won the game. LeBrick, he Kawhi'd it, kaboom. And what about Manu?
He was like 18 years old.
He 18.
Well, he was a baby.
Kawhi finishes last night with a plus-minus rating of 13. LeBron, 3.
That's
Well, if LeBron's plus-minus was +3, that's pretty good. They lost by 5, so at least we know he made an impact while he was out there on the floor. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, we'll see how things go with this Clippers versus Lakers saga. I have a feeling that it's going to end with the Clippers coming out on top, barring any type of serious injury to one of their star players. So peace.